Sadly, we start today with some tragic news that Terry Yower, player, was passed away. Just your thoughts, and you're in a big head of the club at this time.
Yes, of course, very sad news, and of course at this moment all our thoughts and prayers are with his loves and his family. So very sad news for us because he was also a proper club legend, and it's always sad to hear this. It's part of life, and one thing is for sure, he will never be forgotten and always a part of our Leeds United family. And also his legacy will live forever a little bit. So we spoke about our Welsh warriors here, especially with Joe Roden and Eastern Purdue and all the others. And he was definitely a role model as a Welsh warrior, and just done so well for us as a club. And yes, he will also live always further on in our hearts, and will always be connected and always be a proper member of our Leeds United family.
Thanks for your thoughts on that, Daniel. Moving on from last night quickly, we've got the FA Cup this weekend. Looking at how last night unfolded, which is one of the classic Premier League games for many, but what it takes out of your players, Daniel, regardless of the change in competition this weekend, because some of them need a rest anyway.
Yes, first of all, you have to say it is a tough run of fixtures, and especially for a side who always has to go over the line and to invest everything in each every game. So we had 4 Premier League fixtures within 10 days, and right now also on the top of it, more or less the icing on the cake is right now also the FA Cup on Sunday. I'm a big believer in cup competition, so difficult to say why, but it's perhaps my German origin. So we have the DFB Pokal in Germany, and I love this traditional cups, and especially the FA Cup. For me, it's the most traditional cup in whole Western Europe, and always want to win if somehow possible. No, it's not realistic for us, perhaps to win the FA Cup, but why not? I always want to give it a try, and we have also shown during the season that even against the top sides in one game, we always have a chance. And for that, of course, we want also then to go into the next round, still having in mind that although we are highly motivated anyhow, that of course during this season, the big priority is of course also to earn survival and to stay in the Premier League. So we won't risk any player in this game, that's for sure. So, and also the players who had lots of load and where the medical department says, okay, listen, it could be tricky to play him again in the starting lineup. We won't do anything stupid. So you can be sure we will be there with a good proper team and want to go through into the next round, and we'll try everything also to do this, but without risking any players. So I think it's also important for some players to get some minutes and also to rotate a bit more than we would do perhaps for a league game. But nevertheless, we want to go into the next round knowing difficult away game away at the championship side is always not an easy task.
In terms of the squad, I expect Dan James has been out a while now. We've seen Joe Rodon return. Jayden Bowen, would you expect him to be available, or would you risk him at this point?
No, like I mentioned, if it's risky, I wouldn't do this. So I think it will be more or less the same group of players available like for the last game. So Joe, no setback during the game. Of course, he was a bit tired in the end of the game anyhow, but no injuries. The only one who was struggling today a little bit was Sam Byram with some back problems. This had perhaps a bit more to do with the traveling, lots of traveling anyhow, and also since more or less 3 weeks we have not a day off anyhow. So the players have tough days at the moment. So there's a little question mark, but I hope to have him also available for this game. Of course, a few players played many minutes in the last couple of weeks, and with them we will be a bit more careful and will assess them a bit more if they are really capable to play more minutes, and we'll see and make some late decisions. But I expect more or less the same group of players available. Don't think that Jayden Bogle will be a topic for this game. Was also not today, back in team training, and latest on Saturday you would need to train with us. But if there is any risk, and at the moment I would rather rule him out instead of saying he is available. If not a miracle happens anyhow, then he will be be back with us on the other side of the FA Cup game. Obviously also yes, Daniel James, no chance for him to be involved, and all the others should be more or less available.
We know that Lucas Perry came in the spotlight last night, Daniel. when you look, this weekend's a great chance for you to maybe give Carlisle or whoever another go, if you like. But is it an area of concern now for you, the goalkeeper, in terms of this January market?
I always like to be open and honest about everything, and I think it's important. Of course, last 2 games, Lucas had a few situations where his decision making was not great, or of course, it was a situation last minute where he could make a save, and then also against Man U. I think it's also important not like to hide this fact and then to talk some nonsense. And I think the most important thing is then to hold the hand up and to be self-critical and also I think I also like to name it how it is. I think he should have done better. We must not forget with Lucas that of course it's his first season in English football, and regardless of the level that you've played, you always have to adapt a bit to the physicality in the box and also to the intensity in the pressing in English football. He arrived also relatively late in pre-season. He had an injury during pre-season. He had an injury also early during the seasons, of course. Difficult circumstances, and he's such a nice human being, such a nice guy. Everyone wants him to do well. Yes, but on this position is also important, anyhow, that we deliver proper, anyhow, especially for a promoted side. The goalkeeper position is important, and he knows that he has to step up, and we need then also better performances on this positions, and he knows he has to improve. Yes.
Dan, with regards to Harry Gray, is this a chance this weekend maybe to use him a bit more than you have done, or would there be a concern that if he needed some loan time that you'd cut time and you wouldn't want to do that?
No, so it's more or less the main thing is we want to go into the next round. This is all that matters, and then also to make sure that we don't risk any players who, where if you play them again, we would risk an injury. That's the main thing. But there are many players in our squad who deserve also right now a chance in the offense to shine. And we have several solutions. So I've not made my decision yet who will travel with us and who will be involved. Could be that perhaps a few of the younger lads who are not that much on the spotlight in the recent weeks. If you got the feeling they've earned their place in under 21 games or also in training sessions with us, could be that they travel with us, but we will make some late decisions depending on who is really available. What I can confirm, Odi, we've also done in the earlier years in cup competition that definitely will rotate on the goalkeeper position, and Caldalo will play in goal. That's the only thing that I can confirm, Odi, today, but if nothing major happens in the next days, but then normally Caldalo will play if there is not an illness or injury. But in terms of who will start offensive-wise, who will be with us, we'll take the decision just on Saturday, just before we travel.
Finally, for me, Daniel, just to indulge you there, it's really refreshing to hear a manager say, I want to win the FA Cup. And why not? You've been Silverware League, the champion, to win a major domestic honour in this country. That's going to be a dream of yours as well, surely.
Yes, the biggest dream is also, and I think the major topic is also like to make sure that that we stay in this league. So this has to be the priority during this season. Yes, and I don't want to come across anyhow that it's over ambition, that in the back of the defeat I speak about winning the FA Cup. Of course, it's not realistic for us as a newly promoted side, because in the last seasons always the top sides in this league have won this competition. But we have shown that we are, if in one game, if there is whatever, a quarter-final or semi-final or final to play against one of the top sides, we are capable to be there with results. So we've shown this, but in order to have this type of games, you have to make sure that you win then more or less your first rounds. And I'm very, very respectful of a away game at Derby County. We know how difficult it is against a proper championship side, for them a really big game and a chance for them to shine on the spotlight against a Premier League side. And we will rotate a bit. I know it will be really tough. And also against John Eustace, anyhow, I found it really difficult in the last 2 years on championship level to find a way to win against him. So it was not often the case, if I'm leave it like this. So the players have to help me a little bit. At least I haven't found the blueprint so far. In last season was always the same game. So we were dominating possession and chances and shots on goal. Our shots was then in the end 20-2 and expected goals 4-0.2. But in the end, he was always celebrating anyhow. So players have to help me a little bit. So I didn't manage to find the blueprint so far. But nevertheless, we know it's a difficult task, and we are very respectful. And John is always a manager who sets up his team very difficult to open, very difficult to beat. I'm really, really respectful, but somehow we want to find a way to go into the next round, and then, who knows, perhaps something historical. If there is a chance, we would definitely go for it.
Thank you. Hi, Daniel. Jack Harrison and Joel Crew haven't had too many minutes recently. Obviously, for any player who doesn't have as much game time, it's always hard for them. How have they been throughout this period? What's their character been like? Have any actually knocked on your door when you said, boss, what can I do to get inside?
Yes, it's also one of my tasks, sadly, also sometimes to disappoint players. And of course, Joel and Jack didn't have many opportunities in the last weeks. A bit more in the beginning of the season. Okay, last game against Man U, Joel came in and has shown that he's capable to be there with a finish. And I don't blame the players at all. With Joel, for example, you know how much I rate, for example, his finishing skills. I think in this area of this game, he's top class and really, really world class. He's always a top choice once you dominate games, once you play dominant in the half of the opponent and you create finishing situations, and then he can be outstanding for us. And it's not the problem of perhaps the problem, but not the failure of Joel, that once we play sides like Newcastle away or Liverpool away or the other top teams, that we are quite often not as dominant as we were, for example, on championship level. But whenever we have a game where we can be dominant, where we can bring our strikers more or less close to the box in shooting and finishing positions a bit easier, instead of, okay, we always have to play physical and hold up the game and win headers, because this is not that much his game, then he's always a good choice. And we also need his flexibility then in this moment. And for that, although he didn't play that much, he's very much in my thoughts and also still an important player for us as a group. Although I think he would prefer to play more minutes. There's no doubt about this. But of course, our game plan, our approach has had to change a little bit. So hopefully we come also then back into a position where we can dominate games more, and then to pick Joel will be more and more the option. And yes, with Jack, it's not a decision against him, but it's a decision for Gabi Gudmundsson, especially, who is ever present for us as on the left wingback position, and his balance to be capable to defend but also to attack gives him at the moment the edge ahead of Jack Harrison, who is of course a bit more like a winger, who has his strength in going forward, and Gabi has more or less also the ability to defend really, really well. Yes, and apart from this, we haven't played too much with winger positions anyhow. So Brandon Aronson has played fantastic in the last weeks. Also, it was more or less a choice to pick him instead of Jack. But I have no complaints at all, because he's training professional as ever. He's always spot on, tries to shine in training, and he has to do exactly the same. He has to train further on, really professional. Has to be patient, and once a chance comes along, who knows, perhaps already on FA Cup level, then he has to use it in order to impress and to shine. And then on this level, the situation can change pretty quickly. So, for the players who were not involved that much, it's more like they have to work professional, they have to wait patiently, and when a chance comes along, then to take it.
You've been very open and honest last night with Lucas Perry for the last goal. Can you tell us a bit more about his character around the group as well? And do you feel like he is someone who has the character to take public criticism and respond to his mistakes, etc.?
It's never easy for any human being, anyhow, if you're criticized by thousands, anyhow, and then also by perhaps your teammates, and you could see the reaction also by the manager. But I also think we're living such a privileged life, and we're the players, everyone who's involved, and you're earning also lots of money and get lots of praise. You just can't take all the positives. So sometimes you have to take also the negative aspects, and the negative aspects is if you don't deliver, then you will get criticized. And I think I rather try then not to sugarcoat a situation and rather to speak honest about it instead of hiding a bit the elephant in the room. So it was sadly too obvious to see in the last 2 games. We should have done a bit better, and the best thing also to improve is also like to name it how it is, and then to be self-critical and to work on this. But on the other hand, of course, I feel then also for him, because no one likes to be criticized and to be punished. And not me as a manager, not my coaching staff, not my other players, but yeah, sometimes you're in the spotlight, and you deserve praise for a clean sheet at Liverpool. Yeah, but the sun is not always shining, and then you have to hold your hands up, be self-critical, and speak about what you have to improve. So we all have pressure to deliver on this level. And if you don't have the mindset to get on with it, also with criticism, and to go out of this situation with strength and try to improve, then you would have a problem in professional football. And for that, he knows that we win together, we lose together, and he got also lots of praise when we win and return back with a clean sheet. But if there's sometimes a situation that is not perfect, he has also to handle the criticism and also has to be a bit more self-critical, yes.
Now, Daniel, as we speak, the people at Leeds City Council are discussing the plan permission,
yes,
which may or may not be granted, for the expansion of LMO, which we're all very excited about. As I know you're not a planner for a stadium designer, that's not your role, I know, but as the manager of the team that hopes to play in such a stadium, how involved are you, or how much have you stressed the importance of retaining the hostility of Ellen Road and the atmosphere? Because we know, you said yourself, it's second to none, so you know that is the most important thing about background and how special it is, especially this season. So whilst you're not a stadium designer, how much have you been involved in stressing that aspect needs to be preserved and protected?
Not too much. So I'm not one of the persons and people who should get lots of praise for this project. So I think there are other people anyhow who should be praised in order that we're capable to speak about such a planning and hopefully also to fulfill it. So fingers crossed that there are the right decisions right now and we can move forward. Of course, I give more or less sometimes also my inside view about details, how, for example, a home dressing room should look like, or what is also important of the atmosphere. And I think the main topic is also to, of course, to extend the stadium that even more people are allowed and able to follow us and to support us, and that we can build even a stronger connection if this is somehow possible with our supporters and with this community. But on the other hand, also not to lose our traditional charm and not to lose this special, unique Elland Road atmosphere. And I think for that there are way more capable persons in order to plan this, and they have to do the right planning. Of course, I give sometimes more or less, like from a manager, from a coaches, from a player's perspective, some recommendations anyhow, but there are far more capable persons who have to put it then into real life, and I don't deserve any praise for this. Yeah, perhaps by helping to get promoted to then also like to push a bit more with the stadium project, because I think it would be a bit more difficult if you would be still on championship level. I think this is quite important. The more successful we are, the easier it is, and perhaps also to fulfill this project. But of course, I hope we find a good balance between going into the future and having really a modern, functional stadium with top facilities, with top functional facilities, but also to make sure that we don't lose this traditional charm and this Elland Road atmosphere. I think this is the main target.
Obviously, Sean was missing from the squad last time. And obviously, I know it was ahead of schedule, and we brought him in every scene of you wanted for the Manchester United game. How is he doing, and is there any chance at all that he may return on Sunday?
Each and every day helps him, and this was another situation where my head had to win over my heart. because of course it would have been also like for him also amazing atmosphere to be back at Newcastle, but I have to take decisions. Not that more or less Sean and his family perhaps is overexcited. I have to take the right decisions for the squad, and it's the fact that he was out for team training for 6 weeks with his calf injury, just a few sessions with a smaller group, then back with us. I had him more or less for the Man United game, more or less for the spirit in the dressing room, and was never the plan to bring him on the pitch, but I wanted more or less also like the togetherness and his leadership in the dressing room. But for this game, then East Nampadu and also Joe Roden were able to return back, and we have played with 2 central midfield players, and had more or less 4 central midfield options already on the bench, and for that, I didn't need that much him as a 5th midfield option, and was more important to be prepared in case a centre back, for example, like Joe, would be able to play for 90 minutes, or perhaps also our wing backs anyhow with James Justin. I was not sure, so for that I wanted then also Sam Byram on the bench. As an option, and of course also in the offensive wise a few options. So it was more or less a mindful and reasonable decision for the group, for the traveling group. But of course, right now the more days he spends on the training pitch, the closer he edges, and could be that he's involved also with the FA Cup traveling group, and perhaps also for a few minutes. Yes.
Great, thank you. Anybody got any more questions before we move on to the embargo section? No. Yeah, if you can turn cameras off, please, for the embargo section, that'd be great. Thank you.